All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are digging into something really interesting, the latest earnings report from the travel giant Booking Holdings. So get this. The very same day that Booking announces these record-breaking results, their stock takes a nosedive. So if the earnings were so great, why on earth did the stock fall? That's the paradox we're going to solve today. We need to look right past those big headline numbers to find out what's really going on with the company. Okay, let's dive in. Okay, first things first, let's look at the what, the actual numbers. And spoiler alert, they were seriously strong. And just take a look at this. We're talking about the two metrics everyone watches, right? Revenue and earnings per share. Well, Booking didn't just meet what Wall Street expected, they absolutely smashed it, blew right past those expectations. And this wasn't some kind of fluke, you know? The growth engine was just firing on all cylinders. I mean, look at that. Double-digit increases in revenue and core profitability compared to last year. That's some serious momentum. Okay, so the numbers were clearly fantastic, but the real story, the interesting part, isn't just what they earned, it's how they pulled it off. Behind these big numbers are a few really smart strategies that are key to their success. All right, let's get into that so what factor. Let's take a look at how Booking is actually building a more connected and a more loyal customer base. So, the CEO, Glenn Fogel, he laid it out pretty clearly. The company's main focus really starts with this idea of what they call a connected trip. So, what does that mean? Well, their goal is to go way beyond just getting you a hotel room. They want to handle your entire journey, from the flight to the hotel to an attraction, all in one place. And you know what? It's working. That strategy saw their transactions jump by almost 30% last year. That is huge. And check this out. This chart just perfectly shows you the power of loyalty. More than half, think about that, more than half of all their business comes from their Genius members, their most dedicated repeat customers. And why does this matter so much? Well, this isn't just about giving out a few discounts. It's about building a direct relationship with travelers that's really tough for competitors to break. By locking in these customers, Booking is basically creating this incredibly powerful, reliable, and recurring stream of revenue. Okay, now for one of the most talked about pieces of this puzzle, it's a technology that is completely transforming, well, just about every industry, right? I'm talking about artificial intelligence. You know, you hear a lot of companies talking about AI, but often it feels like just a buzzword. Well, Booking CFO, Iwood Steenbergen, basically said, not for us. He was proud to point out that for them, AI isn't just talk. It's actually showing up in the profit and loss statement. It's having a real, measurable impact. And the clearest example of this? It's in customer service. They're using Gen AI to handle customer questions much more efficiently, and, you guessed it, at a much lower cost. And here's the result, a 10% drop. That's a 10% decline in the cost of customer service for every single booking. That is a direct saving, straight to the bottom line, all thanks to AI. So you've got a strong business, you've got a growing tech advantage. So what's next? Let's look at the now what, how Booking is paying back its shareholders and what they're seeing on the horizon. Okay, how about this for a number? $8.2 billion. That is a staggering amount of money, and it's how much cash Booking gave back to its shareholders just last year through dividends and buying back their own stock. On top of that, they announced a 25-for-1 stock split. Now, what that really means is they're making the price of a single share much lower, which makes it way more accessible for everyday investors to buy a piece of the company. And looking ahead to 2026, they are sounding really confident. They're talking about continued growth, expanding profit margins, and a plan to take the money they're saving and plow it right back into new projects, especially in AI and fintech. So that brings us all the way back to the big question, the paradox we started with. If everything looked so good, why did the stock drop? Well, the answer probably has less to do with Booking's amazing performance and a lot more to do with a general feeling of caution in the market about the future of travel spending overall. But despite that market nervousness, the company's longtime CEO, Glenn Fogel, who's been there for 26 years, by the way, he expressed total confidence in where they're at and their strategy for the long haul. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. When you combine their incredibly powerful loyalty program with this growing advantage in AI, you have to ask, is Booking building a fortress in the travel industry that might just be impossible for anyone else to breach?